everyone. If you've listened to our podcast, Check It Out before, you may recognize our voices as we start this Reader's Advisory video. We're trying something a little different. Be the same format as our Check It Out podcast, but you're going to be able to see our book covers and see our faces as we talk about some book recommendations for you. And we are all about romance this month. I'm going to let Kari kick it off and talk about a new book club you might not know we have before we get into the book recommendations.
So, a book club that has been running since February 2022 is Romance Me, and it meets the fourth Thursday of every month from 6:30 to 7:30 here in the community room. We often choose our picks in conjunction with the Adult Reading Challenge, and that's what we did this month. So there's a great romance that fits the prompt. This month, we're reading Recipe for Persuasion by Sonali Dave.
I can hold it closer if you'd like.
Yes,
I have
that
long
would be
arms.
awesome. That would be awesome. I definitely do not.
Look at that beautiful cover.
Isn't that cute?
So what's this one about?
Is it like one of those illustrated? Yeah. Oh, cool.
So pretty.
It is. And by the way, Romance Me focuses on contemporary romances. So we haven't done any Regencies yet or anything like that. We're into the cute, fun, contemporary, interesting, sometimes pining type of reads. And this particular book is from the perspective of Ashna Raj and Rico Silva. Rico is a very recently retired, due to injury, major footballer / soccer player. If you're from America, which he isn't. He's from Brazil originally, although he went to high school when he ended up coming to America. He went to high school here, and he actually went to high school with Ashna. And unbeknownst to her family, they definitely had a romance at that time. Mm. Well, her family did not approve, and so, or she thought they wouldn't, and so they broke up at that time. And as the book is picking up, there's a Cooking with the Stars cooking competition that is going to be shot in the LA/Palo Alto area. Ashna's restaurant, Curried Dreams, that she inherited from her dad, is not doing so hot, and so basically the cooking competition is the only way she can save her restaurant. So she agrees to be on the show. As soon as Rico hears that Ashna is going to be one of the chefs on the show, he calls his agent and he says, "Get me on only as her partner because we have unfinished business."
Ooh,
very forward.
Yeah.
Very forward. And he's like, "But don't tell Ashna." So Recipe for Persuasion is actually kind of a contemporary reboot of Jane Austen's Persuasion.
I was going to ask if that was what they were gunning for. Yeah.
Exactly. So the same kind of family doesn't approve, unfinished business, rekindling vibes are part of Recipe for Persuasion. And I am not completely finished with it, but I'm loving it so far. And 1010 would recommend. So definitely come and see us on the fourth Thursday of the month at 6:30 here in the community room. I think it's July 26th, but don't make me swear to that.
It is on our calendar on our website.
It is on our calendar on the website, so the more the merrier. Come talk with us.
Yes. So the reading challenge for the Adult Year-Round Reading Challenge for this month, for July, is to read a romance that has a protagonist with a different cultural background than your own. So we've all picked one to share whether we've read it or are intending to read it. And mine is one I intend to read. Another staff member here recommended this to me, and so I'm excited to read this. Sorry, Not Sorry by Sonia Singh.
That's a cute
title.
It
Great title and a very cute cover. And this follows Manny Dogra. She is a CEO of a dating app called Breakup. And she was raised in the U.S. By her parents who are from India but want her to be an all-American girl. So she is raised fully immersed in American culture rather than her parents' culture. And she really misses that connection with her heritage. She wants to learn more about it. And she gains an irritating client named Sammy Patel, and he approaches her with kind of an odd request. So if they both agree to his terms, he'll get to get what he wants, and she will get to learn more about what it is to be Indian, according to Manny and his experiences, Sammy, Sammy's experiences in the US. So she gets to kind of experience culture through him, and then he, presumably, I've not read it yet, gets something his way as well. So the staff member who recommended this says it's a quick read, really cute and fun, and kind of grabs you right away. So I'm excited to read this for the challenge this month. What are you going to read, Kristi? Or what have you already read?
Well, I don't know if I can actually count this for the challenge because I read it about a year ago.
Oh.
I cheat and say. But I thought this was, it fits the challenge well. It's also about the two people in this relationship are South Asian as well, and exploring their culture. But this is a young adult book. It's called More Than Just a Pretty Face. I don't know how well you can see the cover there.
Yeah, the long arms. Here we go.
Out there. Yeah.
Very nice.
It's by Saeed M. Masood, and it is. I enjoyed this one because it is coming at the romance from the point of view of the male character,
Interesting.
who is Daniel. He's good looking, at least, is what a lot of people say about him. So he's been raised in a family that's fairly traditional Pakistani family, and his parents are wanting to be very involved in, setting up his relationship, his future marriage. So he's a senior in high school this year. They've started parading some possible candidates around for him. But they're a little worried that they're not going to be able to find a family with a daughter that's really going to want to be paired up with him, because as Daniel will say about himself, he's not the smartest guy in the room. And all of the other, Pakistani parents are wanting their kids to go to school to become lawyers and doctors and all of that. So Danielle is really, really good at cooking. Actually,
oh, fantastic!
Interesting
I'm
connection.
tying all of these together. And he loves cooking. He loves creating things for people that he cares about and watching them enjoy his food. But he knows, a career in, the restaurant industry is probably not the most stable one for him to go into, and his parents won't be thrilled about that. And he's never done well in school, but he's very good looking. So it's like,
got that going.
At least he's got a pretty face.
Yeah.
But he gets selected by his teacher, who's always thought you could achieve more, for a competition at a school called the Renaissance Man, which is a school-wide academic competition. But it's supposed to be like all round like skills and talents and things like that. So he really, everyone is like, why did he get picked? Because each teacher nominates a student for this competition. Everyone's like, why did he get picked? So he wants to show everyone he's smarter than they think. And so he enlists the help of this girl called Bisma, who happens to be one of his parents' candidates, where the two met at one point and were just like, no. So he thinks, well, there's absolutely no chance that we'll start flirting or being interested in each other. This is a safe choice, and she's super, super smart. So she's going to help me study and get smart and do really good at this Renaissance Man. And Bisma has her own reasons for agreeing to do this, that she doesn't quite share with Danielle at first. But the two of them start working together for, this academic competition, and of course sparks start to fly. So yeah, it's a really cute one. I love that we have
two cooking books.
Yes, that's great.
What would you select for? Well, you have your book club book. Are you doing a different one for the reading challenge, or is that your reading challenge book of the month?
Okay, so I have another one actually that also fits the challenge, and it also
beautiful cover,
focuses on cooking. And
well, they do say you cook with love, so
I do. And the cool thing about it is it's yet another reboot of some classic literature. So this is Ramón y Julieta, or Ramón and Julieta, and it's a Romeo and Juliet story.
Oh, fun! Couldn't have guessed. I hope there's a happier ending.
I hope so too, especially in the cutthroat world of restaurants and cooking. So it focuses on Ramón Montes, and He is the heir apparent to his dad's restaurant chain, Taco King. So he is determined to dominate. Like, he went to an Ivy League school so he could learn to run the business really well. And so he comes back to kind of take up the mantle of his father's empire. Meanwhile, Julieta Campos, she has her own taqueria in part of town, and Ramon decides that he is going to acquire this taqueria because he's trying to drive out all the competition for Taco King. Unbeknownst to him, well, or perhaps unbeknownst to him, Julieta hates him because it turns out that Taco King was actually built on a recipe stolen from her mom.
Ooh, so there's the rivalry.
There's the rivalry. So the worst thing that could happen would be Julieta and Ramon getting together when already Julieta's family has been twice betrayed. First with the stealing of the recipe, second by the attempted acquisition of their family restaurant. So I'm super excited to read this. Great LA vibes, great summery vibes. Actually, not LA, San Diego, sorry.
Still sunny.
Still sunny, but yeah, I'm really interested to see, and hopefully this does not end with the bloodbath that is the actual Romeo and Juliet.
That would be a bold move.
That would
be a
romance
bold
that way.
move. So I'm hoping for a happier ending this time.
So the rest of the recommendations we have for you are romances. They don't necessarily fit the challenge, but just if you're looking for a romantic read, we have some ideas. We're going to go through these a little bit quicker and just give you some rapid fire suggestions, so to speak. And I have two, one of which is a throwback to, this was very popular, I want to say around the 2008 to 2012, when vampires were the rage, the ultimate object of affection. And I am talking about Charlaine Harris's Southern Vampire series, the first book in which is called Dead Until Dark. I have to be honest, I cannot recommend this whole series because it really, the first 6 to 7 books are the strongest. But if you don't know, this book is set in Louisiana, and it follows Sookie Stackhouse, a great name in fiction. She is a cocktail waitress at this dive bar, and one night, who would walk in but a vampire? And in this world, it's known that vampires exist. It's not a secret. They have their own society that functions pretty independently from human society. So Sookie is aware that they exist. That's not the surprise. The surprise is that one has walked into her bar. She's been waiting for this to happen because Sookie, whilst she's human, she's not quite all the way human. She's always been able to hear people's thoughts. And so in her small town in Louisiana, people think she's kind of a weirdo because she couldn't really control it when she was younger, and she would just respond to what she was hearing people think. And then obviously that would probably freak anybody out. So she's a little bit of an outcast, but she's found a little family at the bar with her boss and her coworkers. And when this vampire walks in, that's where the romance starts. So they start to see each other. Obviously, a vampire and a human who can read minds, some complications that arise. And the series is kind of a mix of a lot of genres. It's a mystery. There's almost always someone, vampires and all people are dying. But sometimes under more surprisingly nefarious ways than just getting drained of all your blood. So there's a murder mystery that's involved in each outing in the series, but the romance continues. Other players come in. If you've seen the show True Blood on HBO, that is based off of these novels, that is also a ton of fun. It is a vampire soap opera, but definitely 17 plus for that show, as HBO generally does, but a lot of fun if you want something that is just unabashedly about soap opera drama, but with vampires and werewolves and all kinds of other beings. This is a really fun series. It's funny. It doesn't take itself very seriously, but the mystery is really good. It's well paced. And if you just wanted to read a book where like vampires go to Walmart, this is a great one to say. I just love that she just drops these beings into our world, which is really fun. So definitely would recommend that. And then my second recommendation is if you want to do Christmas in July, I have One Day in December by Josie Silver. Now this was really popular when it came out. It was a Reese's Book Club pick if you follow Reese Witherspoon's book recommendations. But if you like a book that makes you feel transported to like a Christmas wonderland, especially in this heat, although today it's cold and rainy here, you'll really enjoy this. So what this book is about is a couple that sees each other for the first time on a bus. They're strangers. I'm not ruining anything by saying they're a couple because they kind of get together and then life pulls them apart and then they try to find their way back to one another throughout the rest of the book. And it kind of follows a structure of you're flipping between narratives. And it's a really fun, quick, well-written book. And I just love it. I love Christmas. I'm not ashamed to say it's my favorite time of the year. And it's sometimes fun to dip into a book and transport yourself to a different time of year when you just want to maybe get away from boiling in the sun and the humidity. So I would definitely recommend this one. I've not read anything else by her, but I would after reading this one. I think it was definitely encouraged me to seek out more of her works. Who would like to go next? Well, you have one more, right?
I have one more.
Let's hear
Should
from
I
Kristi.
jump in and do
Yes.
that one? All right. So I have another young adult book. This one is called She Drives Me Crazy. You want to hold it out for
Yes,
us?
I can.
Thank you. It's by Kelly Quinlan.
Very nice.
And it is a great one if you love the trope that's so common in a lot of like romance media of fake dating. Where, for whatever reason, we have to pretend to be a couple. Obviously, we don't actually like each other.
I
but
love
we're
that
gonna
trope.
pretend, yes. And then, of course, they both start catching feelings, but they don't talk about it because they think, oh, this is just, yeah. So this is a classic example of that. And it is set amongst a girl named Scotty, who is a kind of basketball phenom. She's on her high school basketball team. And her ex, who is on a rival high school's basketball team. And so new season is starting, getting ready for the first game of the season, which happens to be against this rival school where Scotty's ex goes. And Scotty, right before this all happens, gets into a fender bender car accident with the worst possible person, her absolute nemesis, who is Irene Abraham, who is the head cheerleader at her school. And
love that setup.
Yeah.
Great.
Irene's car is unfortunately damaged and gonna have to be in the shop for a while to be fixed, and Irene is upset. And the girls start carpooling together because Scotty is like, well, I guess that's the least I can do is give you a ride to school. And just, in the natural conversations that come up, Scotty starts talking about her ex and how freaked out she is by this upcoming game and having to see her and play against her. And wanting to prove that she's moved on and she's doing much, much better without this ex in the picture. And so she talks with Irene and she realizes this is a great chance because Irene is like top of the social ladder here at my school. So if I've got this beautiful new cheerleader girlfriend, show up at this game, I'm really gonna impress my ex and make her think I'm doing amazing without her. So for reasons of her own, Irene gets dragged into this and the fake dating begins.
Love that.
Yes,
Nice.
She drives me crazy.
That's a great one. Now you've got quite a stack, so what are your quick fire recommendations, or ones you're hoping to read, right?
Actually, I've stared this one. It's called The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels, and I'll let you hold that one out.
Gosh, such pretty covers. I feel like the trend in romance covers I'm really enjoying right now. They're also beautifully illustrated.
They are, and I appreciate just the illustration style
color.
here and the color.
Yeah.
Anyone who has heard me on the podcast or has listened to me excitedly yap about books here at the library knows I love a genre mashup. And the Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels is most definitely that. So it is a romance, but it's also got heavy fantasy elements.
Ooh.
So Cecilia Bassingthwaite is actually a witch, although we don't say witch, in this particular time period, which is nebulously late 1700s, early 1800s, kind of. So she's sitting and reading with her maiden aunt. They're both members of the Wisteria Society, which is a society for witches who try to do good in society, but of course no one says the word witch. They're sitting there, and all of a sudden, someone starts to try to break into their house. Well, who's going to be stupid enough to break into a witch's house? Well, perhaps an assassin sent to murder the up and coming future leader of the Wisteria League.
Ooh.
Just happens to be Cecilia. Well, the assassin does not succeed in getting through the window. This is not a spoiler. So he comes to the front door. When Cecilia throws open the front door, she finds Ned. He works as an assassin sometimes, kind of a pirate. He's definitely a man for hire, and it turns out that his boss, I think it's Colonel Morvath, wants to wipe out the Wisteria Society and seize all of this power. Well, Cecilia doesn't take long to get Ned on her side.
Love it.
So yeah, there's all kinds of fun fantasy vibes, gothic-y.
You're enjoying it so far?
Kind of Regency, loving it, yes. It's great if you want those witchy vibes in the summer, but you also like piratey vibes.
So if you want to do Christmas time or Halloween.
Yes. And then if you like this book, if you read and like this book, it goes on in the same world, although with different characters, with the League of Gentlewomen Witches, where there's a rival society to, a rival league to the Wisteria Society called the Wiccan, W-I-C-K-E-N League. And there's an actual pirate in this one. So if you like it, there's more.
I have to correct myself. I misspoke when I was describing One Day in December. They don't get together right away. Still not spoiling it.
Okay.
That they come together after they meet eyes on the bus. I've forgotten this on the back cover, so again, this is not a spoiler. When she does meet him again for the first time after they've locked eyes on the bus and sparks have flown, he's dating her best friend. That's what I loved about this. I read this several years ago, so I was forgetting that was what kind of pulls you in. And then the rest of the book is them they kind of are making their way together. But how do you navigate that when your best friend how do you do that? So,
yeah,
really fun one. We hope that something in here sparks your interest. And if you want more recommendations, if none of these sounded good, we're always happy to help you either at one of our desks. You can email us at ask@normalpl.org and ask for recommendations that way as well, or give us a call. And any of those ways, we would be happy to help you find your next great romantic read or otherwise. And we thank you for joining us. See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.